25 minutes on the clock and it's ticking. Happy Father's Day, everybody. To all the fathers, the future baby daddies, everyone, and their father, if their father's dead, if their father's alive, whatever. Happy Father's Day, everybody. I hope everyone's having a good day so far. I was supposed to get my mans on the podcast this weekend, but I forgot. I kind of hate people, and I'm busy, and like my schedule and their schedule be conflicting. So guess what? You're stuck with me, but that's alright because the people who actually watch this are not gonna really care if I'm with somebody or not, and that's cool. That's what's up. That's what's up. But I'm gonna get straight into it, straight to the point. You know what I'm saying? I want to do expectations versus standards today, right? Because there's a huge difference between expectations versus standards, and I had to stop setting expectations because I would let myself down. I set expectations for people, places, and things. Expecting them to be this way or expecting someone to act the way that I want them to act. And like I've ruined a lot of friendships and relationships putting expectations on people, or I'd hurt myself, right? Because I'm expecting someone to act a certain way, but like not everyone's gonna think the way I think, obviously, or do something the way I want it to be done. So that whole like expectation thing versus like standards, like there's a huge difference between an expectation and a standard. Like an expectation is something I expect from you. Standard is something that I'm just personally not gonna put up with. Especially now, like it doesn't matter like if we're friends, more than friends, in a relationship, whatever. Like I set standards, which comes with boundaries, which I've definitely done a podcast before. I think I don't even remember. I just be talking. But like standards is just like something that I'm not gonna put up with if I don't have to. You know what I mean? Because like recently I cut a lot of people off just because not like they pissed me off, but like kind of they pissed me off, but like not really. It's just like there's standards that I have that if you don't like it's nothing crazy. Just like being honest. Not lying about irrelevant stuff that has nothing to do with anything, like loyalty, keeping it a buck around me, like those are just like standards that I have for like people in general. Like it's not like I'm not gonna say it's not like I'm asking for much. I'm not asking for anything from you, but it's just like I'm not gonna, I'm self-aware enough to not put myself in a place to be in a position with somebody who's not like if you're being dishonest, you're deceiving, you're constantly lying about shit. Like I'm very down to earth, very mellow. I don't care what you're doing. Do whatever makes you happy. But the moment you start lying to me about stuff that is so irrelevant, I'm not gonna keep you around because I don't live my life that way. I don't expect everyone to live their life the way I do. I'm very different from a lot of people. I'm not saying like I'm better than anybody else. I'm just saying I'm different, and I'm glad that I'm different. I don't like to be like everyone because I put myself in places where like I changed my whole entire like motive or personality just to fit in to not feel so different. And it's like now I am who I am, and if you don't like me, that's on you. I don't really I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. And that might sound rude, but it's the truth. Like, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it if you don't like me because I'm not changing myself for you. You know what I mean? Because, like, that's just something I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna set these standards to put me into a place where if you are just being ignorant and just doing childish stuff and immature stuff, like, I'm not gonna put myself in a place to be around you, And before, like, I would set expectations, I'll give people the benefit of the doubt, and, I expect them to be loyal and because, like, at the end of the day, I end up getting hurt if you don't meet those expectations that I created that I never even told you about, like, we ain't even on the same page. I just have these expectations set in my mind for this to act this way or for this situation to be this way or whatever the case may be. So, like, it puts you in a big place for you to get hurt by yourself, and it's funny because you're literally your worst enemy. It doesn't matter like who you're around. Like your brain is gonna be your worst enemy. So like once you learn how to cope, not like cope with your brain, but like cope with who you are, start to really dissect who Anthony is and what Anthony likes and this and that, then that's when you get a better understanding of who you are and like what you want to be around, like the do's and don'ts. I see people be putting themselves in these situations and like trying to force relationships or friendships or whatever, change for people, act differently around certain people. That's just not who I am, and you don't have to be that way, like once you're comfortable in your own skin, it doesn't really matter, like who likes you or not, what clothes you're wearing, how much money you have, what car you drive, none of that matters. It's so irrelevant. Once you're comfortable with like who you are, people will start to like you for who you are, not who they want you to be, because once you like, not like prove that point, but you set like a strict line where it's like, I'm not going to change for you, your sister, your mom, your cousin, your baby nephew. Like, I'm not going to change for nobody because I'm comfortable with who I am, and if you don't like me, that's not my problem. You know what I mean? And it sounds very rude, but like I've learned like when you start taking like your life seriously, the people around you become very serious in your life. Like it's always quality over quantity. Like I have a lot of acquaintances, I have close friends, and then I have family. Like there's no in between. There's no, I have, like the people who I have to talk to, and then I have like people who I can go to, and yeah, like I have a lot of people in my life, obviously, because like situations of like what's going on that like I don't need to get into because this isn't a therapy session, but it's like the quality of those people are always gonna overplay like the quantity. Like I said before, like you could be in a room full of like a million people, but none of those people really know who you are. They probably don't care about you. They definitely don't have your best interest in mind. So once you like start to like pick out and like have standards for who you're around, right? Because that's why I have acquaintances, people who like I have to talk to for certain reasons, whether it be work related or whatever the case may be. And then I have closer friends who I trust, with my life, honestly, because like there's not a whole lot of the close friends that I have. Like I have close friends that like I can count on y'all if I need something, or if you need something, you can count on me. Because like I said before, like now I'm an asset. I'm not a liability to the people around me. If you have me in your life, I'm gonna go to the end of the world for you. And I recently seen this thing that's like I'm the type of person, I will go to the end of the world for somebody who won't even go to the end of the street for me, and I felt that because I put myself in places so many times with having no standards, setting expectations on people, thinking they got me like I got them, to find out they don't care about me the same way I care about them. So like that's why I had to stop setting expectations, because I was constantly letting myself down with people, thinking that they're not like they're better than they actually are, or whatever the case may be, to like come out and find out they're worse than they are. But it's just like I always think of people so highly. Like I don't know, maybe it's like a response from like situations I don't know. Like I always have people's best interest in mind. And like I realize like the energy that I put out it's very like contraindicating towards me, right? Because I put out like this somewhat, like I heard it before, like I have like a healing energy almost, like a very good aura, and like I attract broken people. That sounds cooked, but it's the truth. Like, and I'm an overly caring person, so like I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna do what I can to try and help. Um, but I would set these expectations, right? To think like, oh, this person's gonna get it, and da da da, da, and like everything's gonna be awesome, and fucking if they just listen to what I had to say, then maybe they'd understand. Da, 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 there's a different way to go about life or whatever the case may be. Not everyone's gonna. First of all, I'm not like paid to do this. Like I'm not like I didn't go to college for this to have this mindset or like my wisdom. It's just like the people that I was around who taught me how to be the way I am now. And so with that being said, I don't think like you need to listen to me because I know it all. I don't know anything really. Like I know things, but for the most part, like I don't know stuff, and I'm not gonna like tell you like, oh, you need to do this. I mean, obviously, like if it's like a client or something like that, yeah, but like that's different because like that's what I do for, you know what I mean. But when it comes to like life advice or something like that, like if I'm talking to somebody, I'm always gonna talk through my own personal experience. I'm never gonna say like, oh, do this and it's gonna work. I'm gonna say this is what's worked for me. It might not work for you, but there's other ways to go about it. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of times where like I attract these people, right? Whether they be friends or more than friends or whatever the case may be, and they're not content with themselves. And they don't like, and this podcast is probably gonna sound mad rude, but it's honestly the truth. Like there's only so much you can put up with as an individual until like you realize once you stop setting these expectations, just have standards for people. Like I'm not gonna allow certain things to go on around me, but I'm not gonna set expectations to put you on a pedestal. I'm not ever gonna put anybody on a pedestal. Obviously, like I have like my go-to people, and I have people who I think of like highly, but I don't like raise them onto a pedestal and kiss their feet and rub their shoes and whatnot. Like that's not who I am. But I keep those people around, and I look at them as higher individuals because they can teach me what I don't know. Because like I said, I don't know. Even if I know, I don't know. Like that's why there's just certain like situations where like I'm just gonna, you ask me something, I don't know, dude. I really don't. You know what I mean? And that's another thing that like makes it look like I really don't care about like people's interests or anything like that. It's not even like that really. It's just that I've come into like too many encounters where like I've been used because of how much of a good person I am. And I'm not saying like, oh, like I made it so like no one can talk to me or anything like that, but I'm very observant. I'm going to pay attention to what's going on, and that's like a helpful trait that's helped me. I feel like a lot of people can learn from it if you learn how to be observant of like what's going on around you, or even just like sending out like certain like hints or messages just to see like how people react towards it. Not like a mind game or anything like that. I fucking hate mind games, but just to see where somebody else is at to better understand. And I think it's clutch, right? Because like I work with a bunch of females, so like it's really nice to like having friends that are girls is such an underrated thing. Like friends that are girls that you're not trying to hook up with, because they'll help you to learn like standards and expectations for not just like people in general, but for women, especially like the day and age that I live in with this generation. Like dating has become very difficult and stuff like that. Obviously, like I got a lot of my own stuff going on because I'm trying to build a future. Like I'm not out here partying and getting fucked up all the time and just like wasting my time. Like very rarely will you see me outside. Like I typically just do the same thing. Like I work, I go to the gym, I I do what I need to do, and I keep it pushing. I stay out the mix, because if I expect like even like self expectations, right? Because it's not just expectations on people; it's the self expectations, like setting goals that are unrealistic. Because I have to deal with that with like well, I'm going to have to deal with that like with my personal training, is like people having unrealistic goals. That's an expectation of something that just physically is not possible for you to obtain. But like setting unrealistic goals for your future, or timelines for things you want to get done, is a great way to let yourself down. All right, because I've done it so many times, even like recent, not like super recently, but like half a year ago, a couple months ago, whatever. Like setting these expectations to like get certain things done in a certain amount of time, while still trying to like play the field, if not like in the streets, but like play the field like where everything else is moving in your life, and you're trying to set an expectation for one thing, but you have so many other things moving around. And I don't know how to explain it, because I don't want to get into like the whole entire situation of like what I'm exactly thinking, because frankly it's not your business. But I sound like a real asshole right now, but it like I'm just telling the truth. Like it that's how it is. And when you become like, I'm not gonna say like a higher individual. I don't think of myself like highly like better than anybody else. But like when you become like dedicated and focused to like something that you love in your life, and start to respect like who you are and what you do for a living, then that's when all these factors really come into play. Because like everything that I've ever spoken about on any of my podcasts, is what I've had to do to get to where I am today. A place where I can continue to grow, and my motivation is not coming from a place of like wanting to do it for somebody else. Like everything comes from inside, with that being like self-love, boundaries with people, motivation in general. Like all of these things that I've talked about tie in together to make yourself into like, this is gonna sound fucked up, but like an unstoppable human being. Because like I like obviously I've had a lot of people who've helped me on the way, but for the most part, like they'll help me, but it's on me to get it done. Like that thing that says like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So people could give you the tools, but then you have to go and build the house. You know what I mean? So like people have given me tools, and then it's up to me at the end of the day to create who I want to be. And that comes along with a lot of different responsibilities as you're becoming like a self-made individual, as one would say. Because it's not on anybody else to get to where you want to be. Like you set that goal, and you move towards it. Because there's a lot of stuff that like people aren't willing to do nowadays. And it's sad, with the generation that we live in, and it's really unfortunate. And that's why I do stuff like this, because like I've come from a place where like I was not motivated. I was out of shape. I was unhealthy. I was doing X, Y, and Z. I was around the wrong people, wrong times, doing the wrong stuff. God damn. It's like, what day is it? It's June 18th. These motherfuckers just setting fireworks off in Providence. That's crazy. Alright, well, they just totally messed up my train of thought. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Damn, I hate when that happens. But, yeah, anyways, like, being, like, a self-made individual, right, comes with a lot of responsibility. Because it's on you to get to where you want to be. I just said that, but it's so true, because all of everything that I've talked about has set like principles in my life to make me into this person that's run off Anthony. And like obviously like my higher power and like through finding myself, my inner self as well as like my outer self, if that makes sense. Like I do like a lot of meditating. That I've gone to places where like I'm so at peace, and then I've lost it from not practicing these principles that I put into my life, whether it be self love, boundaries, XYZ, like everything that I know. Once I stop doing it, I start to lose my peace. I start to lose my serenity. I start to lose my humility. Like all these things, and it's like everything gets picked off one by one, and until you get to a place where like you're constantly discontent. You're angry. You're emotional. I have depression, so like I get depressed. I don't want to do things. I get unmotivated, and then I have to go out and find the motivation again because I'll break it with people, places, and things. So like all of these principles play a huge part with being able to continue to grow in my life. Because like I like always say like, oh, like I got to where I am today, and I'm not like, dude, I'm not like a millionaire. Like I'm not wicked rich. I don't have the fancy car, the nice house, the wife, the kids. I don't have none of that. But I'm in a place in my mindset that I could get whatever I put my mind on. It's on me. If I want to accomplish something, I can go out and learn it. Get up earlier, go to bed earlier, to wake up earlier. Like everyone has an excuse for something. They're too tired. They don't get enough sleep. They didn't eat enough the last day. They had to work too long. They didn't bring clothes. Da da da. There's always an excuse, right? But when you're really dedicated to what you want to do, there's no excuses. The only thing holding you back is yourself, and that's a fact. And a lot of people don't see it that way. They think like, oh, they can make these excuses because it's reasonable. Like obviously there's exceptions, like serious scenarios, but like not sleeping enough for this and that, or like work or transportation, or you could always find a way. I mean, I'm a very resourceful individual, so like if I need something done, I'm gonna get it done. But that's just how I am. Like you could take everything I own from me right now. Whoop, take everything. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go get it. I might even get more just to make you mad. Make whoever took it. I'm gonna make them pissed, right? But that's just because that's who I am. That's what's ingrained in my blood. You know what I mean? So it's very difficult. But the crazy thing is, I was never like that before. You know what I mean? There's all these principles lined up that I've worked on. All these tools to build myself into this individual that can be like that. Like anybody could have what I have, and it's not like materialistic things. It's the mindset, right? And I'm not perfect. You don't gotta be like me, but if you at least could grasp, my mindset, you can make anything you want possible in life. Nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing is impossible. There's some shit that's not possible, but for the most part, anything you truly put your mind on, you'll be able to accomplish. And with that being said, hopefully someone got something out of this. If not, I apologize. Maybe go back, listen to a different one, make a next one. I said I'm gonna do them every week. I want to. It's gonna be a lot of episodes. I don't know if I have all that talking in me though. So I need to get some more people on this. So like, for real, if you're really interested, you can hit me up, text me, call me, slide up on the comments. I don't know. It doesn't matter who you are, guy, girl. It doesn't even matter. You feel like you got something to say? You want to call me out? And on the podcast, that's cool too. Like I said, I'm not a professional at this. I do it to hopefully try and help somebody else. I don't have to go through what I went through. I have the mindset that I had to get to where I am today. You know what I mean? Anybody can have it. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's not materialistic things. You can have this mindset. You can go about your days. Continue to move on. Grow. Prosper into something you never even thought possible. With that being said, adios.